This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Welcome to Swinging Through Comics. Visit mjmunoz.com/STC for notes and links, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment to help me grow. So, I watched the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. This is a show that came out of left field for me, and I gotta say I liked it. So I don't know that there's actually much to spoil on it. More I'll be talking about it, and I think I'll just spend a few minutes because I think that's all it really warrants. I don't have enough background in a lot of things to get to, in the Scarlet Witch or in the Vision from Avengers and the MCU. This is what it's mostly about, mostly drawing from. But I don't have enough understanding of the backgrounds of the characters to go into how it strays or doesn't stray to the source material. I don't know. But I can tell you what, it felt very in line with a sitcom. Like the whole concept. I guess I'll talk about the conceit, or is it the high concept? I don't know. Anyway, I'll talk about the conceit, which is that something's going on with Wanda and Vision. They are trapped in TV land, basically, and it seems apparent by the end of the second episode that somehow Wanda is controlling or partly responsible for what is happening to them and why they're trapped in, I think it's called Westview, is a little sitcom 50s town that they're stuck in, and it does feel to me as if they're stuck. I gotta say, I kind of, there's a duality to these episodes, or to the show so far. It's, a show within a show, and it's a show that the people within the show kind of maybe do know that they're stuck in, but not really. And it's interesting because it was very hard not to dislike it for a couple reasons. One, it's formatted like a sitcom. 2, it's formatted like sitcoms that I like and that I enjoyed as a little kid. I'm 33. When I was small, Mr. Belvedere was on, Small Wonder was on, maybe Growing Pains was on, but more than that, Gilligan's Island was on, and so was I Dream of Jeannie, and a little bit of Bewitched. So I have I watched a pretty good amount of I Dream of Jeannie, and I think I liked it for the special effects. Anyway, as like a 5-year-old boy. Anyway, but no, I Dream of Jeannie and a little bit of Bewitched, I'm familiar with them, and I remember them, and it felt very much like those. So there's probably some amount of nostalgia that explains why I liked the segment so much, but also the jokes were well written, and it's actually kind of funny. My wife and I happened to just start watching a certain show from, it was Golden Girls, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, so we've watched now like 6 or 7 episodes of Golden Girls, and I can't believe how much I like it, but it's funny, it almost feels like the dialogue is, very witty, it's very, it's very much banter, it's very fun, but it's also a little contrived and derivative, but it's almost as if the characters in the show know that the witty dialogue and jokes that they're delivering back and forth are, like, they're in on the joke almost, which that might have to do with the fact that a lot of times sitcoms are filmed in front of a live studio audience. I know the laughter is canned for the most part, especially in WandaVision, they were using all canned laughter, but that really adds to the effect of, like, oh, this is fake, something's wrong, something's artificial here, and I think it's a good thing. I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's a conscious decision because, like, they even zoom out at the end of the episode and it shows you that they're on TV and there's a person watching the TV and there's controllers and looks like a control room or something from, that I've seen in behind the scenes, Wayne's World, or, anything that shows, behind the scenes of TV production. Anyway, but, like, there's something comforting, even though, like, sitcoms are a little bit trite, and like I said, there's something contrived about it, but as I was saying, and I'm repeating, it feels like the characters of the show are in on it, and the actors, they'll turn to the camera, they'll make a little face, they do asides, like, there's all these different things that play to them, and it plays with an audience seeing it, and the other characters, they're not seeing it or not, knowing that it's actually happening, even though, they very well may know what's happening. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, in the second episode, Wanda, like, blows raspberries a couple times, or, like, sticks her tongue out, but she's doing it turned away from somebody. So it's funny that, would a person do that in real life? Maybe, maybe not. But she's doing it, facing the camera, therefore facing the audience, therefore we get to see that, and there's a little laugh track that goes along with it, and like it almost like they pause at moments to let the laugh play, or to do different things like that. So there's like a removal of the realistic nature of how you would shoot something. Like, I know all film and movie, whether that's television or big screen or small screen, there is an artificiality to it, but there's, sometimes where there's overlapping dialogue, or they're trying to make things more realistic, so they don't, can things, or they, try to affect as much as they can that this is really happening, and they didn't do that in this. And there were even moments where, especially towards the end of the first episode, I would say at the climax of the first episode, Wanda and Vision are asked, who they are and where they came from and what they're doing, and they can't answer those questions. And the people who are with them, it's a little bit more like the Truman Show, I guess. They feel like they're actors who are trapped in these roles that they can't get out of, and they're just like, or maybe like they're NPCs and they're trying not to stray from their programming. And it's hard to tell if there's potential for them to be more than they are, or if that's all they are and they're just stuck in those limits and they can't react, beyond that. But and then in the second episode, there's this lady, I can't remember what her name is, like Genevieve or something like that. She ends up being part of their big act at the end because they're in a talent show. And she asks, like, how did that happen? And even they're doing a magic show. I'll just go light spoilers on it. They're doing a magic show, and anyway, Wanda keeps using her actual magic, which apparently doesn't work like that in the comics, but it doesn't matter right now. She keeps using her actual magic to explain away, what Vision is doing, because he's, superhuman and can fly and whatever. So she's doing that stuff, and at one point she makes a bunch of mirrors appear, and she's like, hey, it's, a magician uses smoke and mirrors to do stuff. And someone says, is that how mirrors work? And then another character tells them something like, shut up, don't pay attention, or like we don't want to hear that right now. So it's like a very fragile false reality that's being constructed, and it's being like questioned and examined. And I'm really drawn into, one, the nostalgia of it, two, like the almost metatextual analysis of it, or the meta commentary being made on it. I think it's really interesting. Also, there's like black people in the town, there's Asian people in the town, maybe Hispanic people in the town, or Latin, really, because Hispanic means you come from a place that speaks Spanish-speaking language, or Spanish, whereas Latin just means you're from a Latin American country, so that's geographical versus what kind of language you speak. Anyway, regardless, I just like to be clear on my terms. But so there's like a mystique and not that mystique. There's a mystique, there's a mystery, there's an intrigue of what's going on exactly, and maybe I'll edge more a little bit into spoilers. In the end of the second episode, well, I'll leave a big thing that's hidden right now under wraps still. But there's almost a revelation. Like, there's this thing that's bothering Vision and Wanda, and they want to know what it is. And they go outside to see it because it was bothering them previously, or like at the beginning of the episode. And they just kind of, it's kind of the inciting incident for them getting involved with this talent show or whatever. But once that's all over and they're resting and relaxing at home, they hear something, and they go to investigate, and they see something, and Wanda kind of breaks character, and she's not acting like her 1950s sitcom wife self, and she says, which is the second time it's happened. In the first one, well, it doesn't matter. So it's the second time she's done this, really, and she says no, or not like this, or something like that, and the television rewinds, the illusion rewinds, and it goes back, it replays a moment, and it ends happily for them, and then the episode ends with on a kiss. It's very romantic, very sweet. But then we go back out into the TV screen watching the show of WandaVision, and you hear this feedback that was featured earlier in the episode, and that kind of broke the fourth wall, so to speak, and that kind of tips us off to what's going on. And I like that. I just really hope that if this is going to be 7 or 8 episodes or whatever it is, that we don't keep getting pushed off of the mystery. But then again, it is kind of escalating things, because when they go back in, and I guess after they kiss, maybe it's before, whatever, Vision's face is red, he's in color, and then color starts to spread around the whole room. And through the episode, Wanda was wearing a different outfit. She'd gotten rid of her poodle skirt or whatever, and was dressed in pants, and a little more modernly, as if they're moving from the 50s into the 60s, or the 40s and the 50s, or whatever, probably 50s and 60s, because I have seen like promotional images where it looks like Brady Bunch, basically, and I'm thinking that they're kind of going to go through the decades of sitcoms as like Wanda's, stuck in this, whatever construct that she's trying not to deal with something, or she's under attack, or something like that, and I'm interested to see who the villain ends up being and how this all works. But I would be okay if this was like all in her head somehow, and maybe this is triggered by Vision's death at the end of whatever that movie was with Thanos, Endgame, or the one before that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So not Civil War, Infinity War, that's what it was. Anyway, I've seen the movies. I'm just not like a MCU person who's watched them all again and again and again. I've probably seen Captain America, the first one, like 2 times, and the Winter Soldier like 3 times because it's so cool. But I don't really repeat a lot of the Marvel movies. It's just, for some reason, it feels like one and done is good enough for the most part. Anyway, except I did try to watch Doctor Strange a couple times too. So anyway, but yeah, so I'm really interested in this. I'm hooked. I want to see what happens. I just hope it doesn't turn out that like at the end of every episode, I mean, I guess this could be okay, they get a little closer to the false reality cracking, and then she says no, and she can't use this current false reality of this TV show construct or whatever, so she has to update it to the next one to kind of wow her and keep her and maybe Vision, or just her. Maybe Vision's a construct in her head, because when he's a magician in this episode, he's called Illusion, so maybe he is just an illusion. I don't know. It's really interesting. This might all be in her head, or it might not be, because he's dead at this, I guess. Yeah, he's dead at this point, really, because I don't think he got wished back. I don't think was it Tony? I guess didn't Bruce Banner wish everybody back initially? Or was it Tony? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't think Vision got wished back, is my point. So I think that's pretty interesting. So yeah, I like this. I'm entertained. I like it as a sitcom. I like it as a deconstruction of a sitcom, and I like it as a construct of a deconstruction of a sitcom that is nested inside of something larger, almost like a Sokovian doll. I think they have those, right? Anyway, but yeah, it was fun. What's really fun and what's really interesting to me about it is that they're able to get like a decent story. Like I could see this as a comic book potentially. It's turning into a superhero story, framed in this way, and they're able to produce it, I would think, relatively inexpensively, because they're just using backdrops and sets and things like that, that are hanging around anyway. So I don't think they're using like the volume. I think they're using old school sets, at least for these episodes, these first 2. I think to me it looked kind of like the Universal backlot, like stuff that you see in Back to the Future and things like that. So anyway, I don't know. I'm interested to see where they go from here. But I really liked it. I was really entertained. Both Bettany and Olsen's performances were interesting and engaging, and they played like Ricky and Lucy, and it was cool to see. And I just mean, actors from that era of those types of show. I didn't watch Leave It to Beaver or anything like that. So, and I don't remember anybody's names from I Dream of Jeannie or Bewitched or anything. So anyway, but they played like those characters, but then they had moments where it cracked through and they had, more modern performances, I guess you could say. And gosh, that was all really neat. So I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to the next one. And that's pretty much it. Check out all my other work over on Swinging Through Comics here. I don't just talk about TV shows or MCU stuff. I have a channel where I talk about, or actually go to mgmnews.com. You can find the links for all the podcasts I have separated into the little feeds where I review a bunch of comic books. I recently just reviewed the 5th final issue of The Rise of Ultraman, Marvel and Super Eye Productions collaboration on bringing one of their old school, from the 60s, TV superheroes from Japan into American comic books. This isn't the only time Ultraman's been in comic book form in the United States. There's been I think from Viz, a Ultraman manga from 2011, and there's a Netflix TV show based on that. I've reviewed the Netflix TV show, the first season of it. I've reviewed also an anime of Ultraman, or an Ultraman spinoff really, called SSSS.Gridman, and you can find that through Going Ultra's the podcast feed, or the name of the show that I do that talks about that. I've a couple seasons of Going Ultra talking about these various Ultraman things, but then the Ultraman comic, released by Marvel in 2000 and ending in 2020 and ending in 2021 rather, is on Swinging Through Comics, that feed, and you can find it. It's going to be the previous episode to this. I was talking about Star Wars. I've been talking about the High Republic. Is it woke garbage? I don't know. Find out with me in my reviews of two things: A Test of Courage, the middle grade or whatever book, and the full-on novel written by Charles Soule, who's written for various Marvel comics, including Marvel Star Wars, Lando, Darth Vader. He's the main writer on Star Wars right now. Yeah. So, I don't know if I reviewed Lando, but I read it and I really enjoyed it. So I had a lot good to say about that. And I did review Rise of Kylo Ren, which I think is... I thought it was Cavan Scott, but apparently it's Charles Soule. And that one's... It's okay if you check out my reviews on that. You'll see why it turns downhill and why I dislike it. And that's all on Swinging Through Comics. But I also have Fully Operational, which is a Star Wars show. So there's a whole bunch of stuff I do. Go to my podcast link on mjmunoz.com and you can find all the shows. But again, mjmunoz.com/STC is going to take you to the master feed of Swinging Through Comics, where I have an automatic RSS thing that you can look at, and in addition to that, I'm also posting every one of the episodes in order chronologically, as well as the latest episode up at the top. And I just need to go back to the website and update that sometime after you're hearing this. Hopefully it'll be updated by then. Anyway, until next time, folks, take care. And remember to be the hero you needed in your most desperate hour. Excelsior, true believers.